What is everybody? Dan Erotics here, way back in our video. 1998 year in review continues with WCW's Fall Brawl. This is one of the most boring shows I've ever seen. It took me literally 3 or 4 tries to get through this fucking show because I fell asleep through it so many damn times. Hell, I fell asleep through the main event twice, which is why it took so long to get these videos uploaded. There is literally nothing to talk about. This show isn't so bad like WCW 2000 shows, but at least with those shows, there's stuff to talk about. New Blood Rising. Can Goldberg follow the script? Great American Bash had so many bad matches. Halloween Havoc, so many bad matches. Bash at the Beach. You know, this is why the company's in the damn shape it is in because of bullshit like this. I can go on and on and on and on and on and on talking about those things in those shows. But with Fall Brawl, I had nothing to talk about really except really 4 things. 4 things to talk about. So this review isn't going to be very long. In fact, it's going to be under 10 minutes probably. It's not a very long review because it's not a very interesting show to watch. Bulldog and Neidhart defeat Boogie Nights. That's Disco Inferno and Alex Wright in a very bad match. The only thing worth talking about is how British Bulldog took a suplex from Disco Inferno and landed on the trapdoor that no one in the back bothered to tell anybody about. So Bulldog, after this match, his painkiller's addiction escalated to a scary level. And what's really scary is that the British Bulldog died 15 years ago. 15 years ago, he has been gone. And you can really see the Bulldog's career really skyfalls after this. And it's really dark. It's really sad. In fact, actually, when I say 15 years ago, I really mean 15 years ago because I think he died in September. Ooh. Moving on, 2.5. Nobody in the back bothered to tell him there's a trapdoor for the Warrior. Thanks a lot, Bischoff. Chris Jericho defeats Goldberg. You know, WWF takes a lot from WCW, but one of the things I didn't think they did take from was the impersonation of Gilbert of Goldberg. And this is exactly what this is. It's Goldberg before he's Gilbert. So Chris Jericho is doing this whole stupid angle, but it has an angle that can make money. But of course, WCW don't see the money in this, and they just want to throw it away on Nitro because that's what they do. They just throw it away on Nitro. So Chris Jericho defeats this sawed-off midget guy named Goldberg, and 1 out of 10, it's just a squash match. Nothing more to say about it, other than this had the potential to make a lot of money if he fought the real Goldberg for realsies. I mean, what else was Goldberg doing? In fact, actually, he's not even on this show. Ernest Miller defeats Norman Smiley. It's a bad match. 0. Moving on. Rick Steiner and Scott Steiner goes to a known contest. Buff Bagwell gets seriously injured. Well, I say seriously injured in quotation marks because he is feigning his injury here. And now back in April, I believe it was, on a Nitro, Buff Bagwell in his match with Rick Steiner got severely injured. Scary injury. I mean, almost draws scary. They didn't think that he could have a career after this. Nobody thought that he could even walk after this. Buff Bagwell miraculously returned, miraculously recovered. And it's a great story. It's too bad we have to boo the guy because he's portrayed as a heel, and it's really sucks. It really sucks. Buff Bagwell really has a reverse Roman Reigns going on. You know, with Roman Reigns, you know, he is betrayed as a babyface, but everyone wants to boo the guy because he's just that damn good of a heel. But everyone just doesn't like him because they can't really gravitate towards him. So they want to boo him. Well, Buff Bagwell has the reverse thing going on here. Everyone can relate to him. Everyone can really get behind Buff Bagwell. They want him to be a babyface. They want to cheer for the guy. But Buff Bagwell still has to be a bad guy. I don't know why he can't be a good guy, but whatever. So they do the whole bells and the whistles. They put him in a stretcher. They put him in on the ambulance, which he would have to join British Bulldog because Eric Bischoff didn't bother to tell him there's a trap door. And he says, Somebody call my mom. Somebody call my mama. Hey, hey, somebody call my mama. Somebody please call Judy. Somebody call Judy Bagwell. Well, nobody called Judy Bagwell because this was all a fake, a ruse, a ruse. He just done duked us. And then Scott Steiner and Buff Bagwell beat the shit out of him, and there you go. 2 out of 10. Juventud Guerrero defeats Silver King in a forgettable cruiserweight title match. 4.5 out of 10. But what was really not forgettable whatsoever was this gem. I hate the term hidden gem and underrated because it really makes it sound like, oh, these matches are not great, but they're not bad. They're a hidden gem. They're underrated. Well, what's really a gem of a match is Saturn versus Raven on this show. It's just a fantastic show. It's a fantastic match. How many times did I make that mistake? It's a fantastic match. 8 out of 10. During this match, Billy Kidman turns on Raven, hits a top rope drop kick, turning babyface on the flock. And the next night on Nitro, he would win the Cruiserweight title. Good for him. Saturn hits a DVD on Lodi, and so on and so forth. Saturn gets the victory over Raven, and it's the best match these two guys ever had, ever, period. And what did WCW do with these two guys afterwards? Well, the flock is dead, and Raven goes back being a very much forgettable mid-carder, and Saturn does more or less the same. He beats the shit out of Lodi, and that's just about it. He doesn't really do anything afterwards. He just becomes Lodi's slave for some reason. Saturn had a lot of potential. So did Raven. So did Chris Jericho. So did Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit. So did a lot of people. It's a shame that WCW never could capitalize on these guys. I feel like if these guys could have stayed and the company was around in 2001 and 2002, maybe these guys could have got the shot they so rightfully deserved. Anyways, this is a fantastic match. The crowd gets really into it because before this match and even after this match, they fall asleep. They are dozing off, much like I have been doing during this entire show. Anyways, this match is very good, as I said. An 8 out of 10. Saturn gets the victory in a very great match. Dean Malenko defeats Kurt Hennig, which should be a good match, but it isn't. Via disqualification, he wins. But this is just a plot device to build up the Horseman versus NWO storyline, which also had a lot of things going for it, and also could have did a lot of business for them. Unfortunately, NWO just beats the shit out of Ric Flair afterwards, and but what's really cool is the first initial night that Ric Flair returned on Nitro in Greenville, South Carolina. It's the infamous, "Fire me! I'm already fired! Fire me! I'm already fired! You're an overbearing asshole! An overbearing asshole!" Good stuff. 4 out of 10, but it's just a plot device. Conan defeats Scott Hall in a match that's very uncomfortable. It's not a bad match, but it's uncomfortable because Scott Hall's a drunk. And if you're going to watch Nitro and you're going to watch Raw during this time period, both these two major companies decided to take two big stars that they had in Scott Hall and Road Warrior Hawk and play off their real life crisis going on. With Road Warrior Hawk is his drug abuse, and with Scott Hall is his alcohol abuse. And they really drove home those storylines, those real life stories going on the TV show. It's really sad. The night after this show, the Nitro, he pukes all over Bischoff, which is both hilarious and sad. Nothing much to talk about, 4.5. Conan gets the victory, as Scott Hall could barely stand up. And then we have the main event. It's the War Games. It's a triple threat, 3 teams of 3 War Games match. Usually a War Games is 2-on-2, 2 teams of 4, or 2 teams of 5. But what makes this one even more dynamic, and that's a nice word of putting it, because this match is garbage, is that it's every man for himself, really, because the championship is online. Well, not the title, but a contendership for Goldberg and Halloween Havoc is on the line here. So you have Team WCW, Roddy Piper, the debut of the Ultimate Warrior, just the Warrior, Diamond Dallas Page. They defeat Kevin Nash, Sting, Lex Luger, the Wolfpack, and NWO's Hollywood team of Hollywood Hogan, Stevie Ray, and Bret Hart. Look at the names I just listed. Look at the names. 8 out of the 9 guys I just named are world champions, except DDP, who becomes world champion. 7 of the 9 guys are Hall of Famers. Lex Luger should be a Hall of Famer. And then you just have poor old Stevie Ray, who is just, of course, he's going to be the man who's going to eat the pinfall. Normally, War Games, you have to end the match via submission when all men are in the rings. But that's not the case here. Eliminations can occur, and pinfalls can be won by pinfall. Anyways, nothing really happens in this match. Bret Hart and DDP wrestle. Out comes some guy. And then Hogan comes out. He jumps the gun for 90 seconds. He gives Stevie Ray his slapjack. They rain havoc on the ring and whatever the fuck. And then the Warrior shows up. Or actually, the Warrior don't show up. It's the Renegade. The Renegade shows up. And he goes through the trap door that Bulldog broke his back through. And, it's very interesting to see how things come full circle. So you have the Renegade who betrayed, who is supposed to be an Ultimate Warrior ripoff, an Ultimate Warrior clone way back at Uncensored 1995, a garbage show that I reviewed. And everything just comes full circle. So he was meant to be an Ultimate Warrior clone, a ripoff. And then in the end, when they finally do get the Ultimate Warrior, he ends up being just that, an Ultimate Warrior ripoff. How things can come full circle. It's very hilarious. Well, what isn't hilarious is the man behind Renegade would kill himself 6 months later. And it's incredibly sad. This match, however, is incredibly bad. And it also is incredibly sad. Because when the Warrior shows up, he just comes out. He just comes running like he usually does. He doesn't come through the fucking trap door. No, he just comes running down. He beats the shit out of Stevie Ray. And he chases after Hogan, and they go through the back, and that's all it is. And for some reason, everyone must have just died. The smoke that occurs during this match must have been so thick and so poisonous that it incapacitates each and every single guy, because every guy was on their fucking stomachs. Everyone was on their backs. Once when the Warrior shows up, everyone was down, and then all of a sudden, Stevie Ray goes to hit somebody with a slapjack, and the finish is so botchy I can't describe it. Diamond Cutter out of nowhere, and DB gets the victory over Stevie Ray. He gets the title shot in the most boring ass War Games match I've ever fucking seen. If you want great War Games match, watch the Horsemen versus the Superpowers, the Dusty Rhodes Superpowers team. Watch those War Games. Watch Stinger Squadron versus the Dangerous Alliance. Watch those War Games matches. Watch Stinger Squadron versus the Four Horsemen from 1991. Watch those War Games, because this War Games is garbage. This gets a mega ultimate. It's the ultimate dud, or just a dud. It's a 0 minus 10. One of the most boring matches I've ever fucking seen. And with that list of names that I gave, Piper, Brett, Sting, Nash, Luger, Hogan, Stevie Ray, with that list of names, good lord, you would think it would be fantastic. No, it's shit. Anyways, Fall Brawl 1998 gets a 2.4 out of 10. It's not nearly as bad as New Blood Rising, but at least I could say Goldberg can't follow the script. There is literally nothing to talk about anymore of this show. You just have Bulldog breaking his back because Bischoff didn't bother to tell him there's a trap door. You have Buff Bagwell feigning his neck injury that he suffered way back in April. You have the hidden gem. I hate that term, but you have the gem of a match between Saturn and Raven, which is a great match, by the way. You have the drunkenness of Hall and a piss poor, horrible, boring main event that has 7 Hall of Famers and 8 world champions. How does a match with 7 Hall of Famers, one should be, and 8 world champions becomes one of the worst matches of all time? I don't know, but it's WCW in 1998, and this is when the product becomes really, really shitty. 2.4 out of 10, and I'll catch you next time for Halloween Havoc, which is the most mixed bag of a show I've ever fucking seen. And I'll catch you next time for WWF's Breakdown here on 1998's Year in Review. Like, comment, and subscribe.